It is indeed so good to be with you today. Thank you, Allie, for that, and for being with us today. And for brothers, I don't know if you were able to catch the Back Pew concert last week, but absolutely amazing, yeah. And thank you for your generosity to support these brothers as well. We're going to do that once a month, and we've got another one coming up. We're hoping we can get Allie to be a part of that next one as well. Looking forward to hanging out. But Ed, Jermaine, Rashard, man, just absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for each of you who went in and did the Cash App. You were extremely generous, and we're extremely grateful for your support. We also want to thank Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation. 2 weeks ago, we got a call, and that call basically said that we would be receiving the royalties from the most recent Savage remix. And I want you to know that's one of my favorite songs. All right, it's one of my favorite songs. When I'm on my bike in the afternoon, I'm rocking Savage the remix. All right, I'm telling you. So it's been a real blessed 2 weeks. Your generosity every week, you have kept us moving, and we are grateful to you. We're appreciative to you for doing what you do. I've got a brief word. We're on rule number 14, and I'm just going to read a passage of scripture, and I'm going to come back and hit rule number 14 in a few once we get a little further in. But here's the scripture found in Genesis 37, verses 5 through, let's say, 8. And it reads, I'm reading the Message version. Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said, listen to this dream I had. We were all out in the field gathering bundles of wheat. All of a sudden, my bundle stood up straight, and your bundles circled around it and bowed down to mine. His brother said, so, you're going to rule us. You're going to boss us around. And they hated him even more because of his dream and the way he talked. Here's my title. Your dream matters to God. You know, before that dream can matter to God, that dream has to matter to you. And I love this picture. This picture of me, you see me use it quite often because this 8-year-old is me without therapy. You see, over the last 30 years or so, I have been working on me. But what I realized is that everywhere I show up with the 8-year-old Rudy. The one who was, kind of awkward, kind of marginalized, and really the one thing that really sticks with me with this 8-year-old Rudy is the fact that this 8-year-old Rudy grew up in a world with two doors, a front door that one demographic in society walked through, and the other door that I had to go through, the one marked for coloreds only. Two doors. There were two restrooms. There was a restroom marked for whites only for coloreds, and another marked for coloreds only. And I never understood that. Two fountains, a fountain marked for whites only, and a fountain marked for coloreds only. And I always wondered what was different about the water coming from that other fountain. But because as tentative as people would get, if I got too close to that fountain, then I realized there was something about that fountain that was powerful. And you see, when I think about race and class and the challenges we are facing in our country right now, I wonder how many 8-year-olds' dreams are challenged right now. I really wonder what was Ahmaud Arbery's dream. The dream when he was 8 years old, the dream that he told his mama about. The dream that he didn't tell anybody about, but the dream that he ultimately knew he would fulfill. You see, because of the challenges with race and class, his life was ended. Murdered. Think about all of the other 8-year-olds who should be given an opportunity to dream. You see, I never knew life would be like this for me. But I had an idea that if I could just keep moving forward, one day, I was thinking one day I might be able to get out of my daddy's glasses. Huh? All right, I'm just kidding. But one day. And when I think about my dreams, I realize that now during this time of COVID-19, it's harder than ever before to dream, y'all. It's hard. It's hard to see the world coming back to normal. It's hard to envision what the new normal will be. But I do know that there are some 8-year-olds around and some 28-year-olds around and some 48-year-olds around and some 63-year-olds around who still have a dream that matters to God. Yes. When I think about this passage, I'm reminded of the challenges that discontentment and longing can place in each of our hearts. But I also realized as I was moving through life, it was that discontentment and longing that kept before me the opportunity, the real opportunity that my dream would ultimately come to pass. Now, I've once said that the hardest place for a dream to materialize is in our childhood, all right? Because there are so many barriers and obstacles that are working against our dreams coming to fruition. And in this passage, we see where Joseph's challenge was the family of origin. Many of our dreams never make it out of our families, y'all. Because many of our families have lost their dreams somewhere along the way, and ultimately, as a result of that disappointment, ultimately can't even fathom experiencing that disappointment through their child. So what do? They step on that dream and they push it down and they minimize it and they say, oh, why you keep thinking like that and why you thinking so big and why you thinking so lofty? But it's really because of fear people attempt to kill our dreams in our families of origin. Matter of fact, it's not only fear, but it's also disappointment. In my first book, Touch, the subtitle of that book was Pressing Against the Wounds of a Broken World. And in that book, Touch, I talk about the aspect of expectations. You know, and when I think about expectations, I'm reminded that an undisclosed expectation is a premeditated resentment, right? All right? If I don't tell you what I'm expecting from you, I'm really setting you up to resent you at some future point. But the same thing happens in the environment of our dreaming. We have an expectation. But if somewhere along the way that expectation isn't met, then ultimately we begin to resent sometimes ourselves and sometimes those around us. But the one thing we can learn from Joseph in this text is that even though we can come up in some jacked up families of origin, even though we can come up in some difficult family situations, there is still a reason to dream. Joseph was child number 11, of Jacob's. Number 1 with Rachel. He had the other 10 with 2 slaves and his wife Leah, all right? And can you imagine everybody in the same house? Ain't no drama like family drama, because family drama don't stop, right? 11 kids in the same house, 4 women in the same house. And here's this one little dreamer who can see beyond the current predicament is saying, one of these days, I'm going to be the boss. You know, when I think about this passage, if you follow Joseph's story, you realize that his brothers hated him so much, they plotted to kill him. But instead of killing him, they dropped him in a pit, left him there, and then decided to sell him into slavery. But this is how the dream begins to materialize, because along the way, you never see that Joseph stopped dreaming. Dropped into a pit, sold into slavery, ended up in the palace. Isn't that something? Dropped in the pit, sold into slavery, ended up in the palace. While serving the king in the palace, got into a situation with the king's wife. As a result of that situation, got thrown into prison. Dropped in the pit, made it to the palace, now thrown into prison. And thrown into prison, we see Joseph didn't stop dreaming. Didn't stop dreaming in the pit, didn't stop dreaming in the palace, didn't stop dreaming in prison. We see where throughout his life there was one consistent, one constant, and that was he never let go of his dream. Yeah. So when we think about this, we realize that a dream is a series of thoughts not under the command of reason. Now, when we think about a dream being a series of thoughts, not under the command of reason, we realize that in order to dream, we have to appear crazy to everybody around us. Now, I don't know about you, but I look crazy often because I dream. And in the midst of my dreaming, I realize that if I can see it in my mind, if I can perceive it in my mind, then ultimately I can conceive and achieve it. Now, does it always look like I want it to? No. Does it always take that perfect shape of the dream that was manifesting? No, it doesn't. But when I really began to think about my commitment to that thought beyond the command of reason, and I'm telling you what reason is when people say, why you want to do it like that? Or why you got to go over there? You know, this morning, right before I came to say and share with you, I got out a cup this morning and I got a tea bag. And that tea bag was one of my favorite teas from my favorite tea shop in Paris. And I took the tea bag and I stuck it in the water and I let the tea label just kind of hang over and I took a picture of it. And as I sat there, I said, a little boy from the west edge of downtown Houston one day made it to Paris and sat and drank tea in his favorite tea shop, right? And here that little boy is now, 63 years old, having been to Paris a lot. And you know what my dream is? that I can get back there again. And guess what? I believe I can get back there again. Is it going to be different going back after COVID-19? Absolutely. But does it mean that I'm finished? No. And neither are you. There's more for you to do. There are places that you're still going to go because this is not the end. You got a dream. A dream is a series of thoughts not under the command of reason. Reason tells us right now that we can't go anywhere and can't do anything. We have to wear masks and we have to wear gloves, and that's true. And guess what? On that plane to Paris, I'll be the one with the gloves and the mask, all right? Because it's not over. And when we look at Joseph's life, we realize that it's never over until it's over. And the Bible tells us it's not over until the creator of the universe, God, says it's over. And it's not over. Dropped in the pit, sent to the palace. Sent to prison. But guess what? Got out of prison, made it back to the palace. And that's why when we think about what dreaming can do for us, right now, wherever you are, I want you to get in your mind the one thing you want to experience when you move out of this quarantine and you move into the next phase of your life. The one thing that you want to see, the one thing you want to do, the one thing you want to accomplish. Now, I've heard some people say that, why do you want to learn a new skill right now? Why do you want to learn a new language right now? Why do you want to learn something new to do right now? Because now is a good time. Yes. When was the last time? Don't panic. When was the last time you had this kind of time to work on you? I was telling my neighbor the other day, I said, man, I ain't been at home this long since I was 5 years old. But what I've discovered being at home is, dude, I like this. I wake up, I make me some coffee. Some Through-Good coffee, 27th Street, all right? To go, take out, all right? I sit on the porch early morning. I have this squirrel that comes by and say, hey, what's up, Rudy? Yeah, what's up, squirrel? I have this bird in the afternoon, blackbird with a yellow beak. I've seen a lot of these lately. It's been kind of spooky too, all right? But I've been saying, hey, what's up, bird? And in the midst of this, I realized that God is up to something right now. In other words, my wildest dream can be fulfilled right now. Let me tell you what I mean. What I mean by that. When we think about manifesting our dreams, we're really talking about manifesting the miraculous. And when we talk about manifesting the miraculous, I think about my mom, who's now 88 years old, but when she was 85 years old, I bought her a bike, all right? And at 85 years old, my mom got on that bike and rode a bicycle for the first time. Right. And you see the joy on her face? On your screen, the joy on her face is the joy of what happens when we manifest miracles. Yes. There's a miracle manifesting in you right now. I don't know what the one thing you have been telling yourself you want to do that you haven't done yet. But right now, it's time to take that step, right? Right now, envision. Jesus walked on water. And so did his disciple until he took his eye off Jesus. So what do? We keep our eye on Jesus, and we step out of the boat and we walk. She's 88 years old, going to be 89 years old in a few months. And I'm telling you, The one thing I've learned from her is the miracle of every day. Let me tell you more about that. It's a miracle every day. From the pit to the palace. Anybody been there? From the palace to prison. Somebody watching the day. You've been there. As a matter of fact, somebody's in their own prison in their minds right now. It's time for your freedom. We're freeing you. You go back to the palace. And when you get back to the palace this time, your room is in the penthouse. All right? No more basement thinking. No more basement experiences for you. Your new room is in the penthouse. Because here we go. I'm at coffee before COVID-19, before the quarantine. This must have been early February. I'm having coffee with a dear friend. And my dear friend told me, Rudy, I'm seeing a new therapist now. It's very expensive. It's like $750 a session. And I'm thinking, man, they must, at $750, wow. And she said, you know what? They have helped me to understand. They have helped me to understand that I am fabulous. She said, Rudy, do you know you are fabulous? And I was thinking, Jackie, I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, all right. Yeah. And I started saying it. I'm fabulous. Yeah, I'm fabulous. And wherever you are right now, sitting there with your underwear on, say it after me. I am fabulous. Yeah. Now, don't you feel a little more fabulous? Because what the mind can believe and perceive, it can achieve. You see, when I think about Joseph's journey, I realize Joseph, from the moment he told his brothers that ultimately he would be the boss, he never stopped thinking he was fabulous. He thought he was fabulous in the pit. He knew he was fabulous when he was in the palace. Then he ended up in prison, but he was still fabulous. And then he got out of prison because out of prison and made it back to the palace because he was still fabulous. And you can't keep a fabulous person down. Right? So here we are. And now Joseph is in charge. And a famine comes across the land. And guess who had to come before him and bow to get some food? The same brothers he told that one day I would be here and you, my abusers, my ridiculers, my accusers, would have to bow to me. A famine came across the land. Joseph was put in the penthouse and made the vice president of food. And guess who had to come to ask for food? Those same brothers that threw him in the pit, left him for dead. The same brothers that sold him into slavery. There's a story there, y'all. You know what Joseph told him? He said, you meant it for evil, Mama Shard. But God meant it for good. Yeah. I don't care how they dropped you, how they kicked you, what they did to you, how they abused you. God meant it for good. I don't care how long you've struggled. I don't care how long you have toiled. God meant it for good. And the one thing I'm learning from this Rule 14, I learned it from, I'm understanding this more and more, all right? Walt Disney. I love Disney World, all right? If you haven't been there, when it opens back up, you got to get there. But imagine this. It sits on 43 square miles of prime real estate in Florida. And it took years. How many years? It took 7 years to plan, 4.5 years to build. And Walt Disney died before it was complete, but at the opening, Mrs. Disney, the wife, companion, partner of Walt Disney, was sitting there at the grand opening celebration of Disney World, and someone came up to her and said, Mrs. Disney, isn't it sad that Walt didn't have an opportunity to see this? Mrs. Disney looked at that person, probably rolled her eyes just a little, and said, Walt did see it. That's why it's here. Yeah. Rule 14. Rule 14. Let's read it. You will achieve your grand dream a day at a time. So set goals for each day, not long and difficult projects, but chores that will take you step by step towards your rainbow. Write them down if you must. But limit your list so that you won't have to drag today's undones into tomorrow. Remember that you cannot build your pyramid in 24 hours. Be patient and never allow your day to become so cluttered that you neglect your most important goal, to do your best you can. Enjoy this day. Rest satisfied with what you have accomplished. And that's what I want to tell you. One day at a time, one step at a time. That's how we achieve our dream. When I think about all that God has done here at St. John's with the Bread of Life, we started 28 years ago. With Timonos, we started 15 years ago building housing. Everything God has done it one day, one step at a time. Not years at a time. One day, one step at a time. And your life, I don't care where you are right now, retired, great. Tomorrow is a new day and an opportunity to dream. Unemployed, I don't care. Tomorrow is a new day, an opportunity to hone a new skill. Depressed, sad, lonely. Tomorrow is a new day. You raise the blinds. You let the sun come in if it's coming. If it's a cloudy day, thank God for the clouds. And start on your journey. You know, if I think about where we are right now, and I think about dreaming, I realize that hope plus preparation plus opportunity equals a manifested dream. You got to begin with hope. I'm hoping for you. I'm grateful for you. Thank you. Bless you. And remember, your dream matters to God. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you haven't given yet, go online right now or go to your Cash App, however, and open your heart and give. It's the only way we can continue to keep this mission moving forward. We love you and we thank the Lord for you, and we are grateful for your partnership. We want you to also know that today, if you're watching this before noon, today at 2 o'clock Central, we're going to line up on Gray Street in front of this church. And we're going to parade around this block and celebrate with our Pastor Tiffany. That's right. We're going to 2 o'clock. So everybody come down and hang out. No, come down and stay in your car. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Come down, stay in your car, and wave. Now we're going to have somebody on the curb catching those gifts. All right, so we're going to have a bag, and you just throw the gift in the bag, right? Because she's worked hard, and we're going to celebrate with her. So if you got gifts, we're going to have some, but don't get out your car. DJ Superstar going to be playing the jams. So as you go by, all right, we got our own DJ Nice there. I'm telling you, right? And it's going to be an incredible day. Hey, we love you. Man, remember, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll see you later on. Take care. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are grateful for your partnership on this journey.
You know, we can't do this without you. It takes all of us, away, near, far, to continue the work at St. John's Downtown. Your generosity is so appreciated. We want you to remember that we're still here. We might all be in our pajamas on Sundays, or y'all might be in your pajamas, but we're here. We're present. Facebook Live.
Instagram Live and YouTube Live on the St. John's Downtown Houston site. And know that you are loved and cared for, and it's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
8 o'clock and 10 o'clock on Sunday. And remember, at noon, amazing. 102.5 on the radio. We love you guys.
That's the goal.